I'm Kris Hagan. For those who don't know, I've been a language coach for many years. In my career, I've taught a wide variety of people, from famous singers and radio presenters to doctors, uni students, and yes, even desperate housewives trying to find an English lover. I've finally decided to share my thoughts, tips and tricks with the world. Also check out my YouTube channel if you want to see my ugly mush. So let's kick off this podcast with a great jingle.
Doesn't matter where you are, in the car or at the bar. Here for you comes in your ears, another word for thanks is cheers. Here's the new kid from the block, here for you around the clock. Shining on his English tips, Kris
is an anagram of risk.
Kris.
Now, hello and welcome. I'm immediately going to start with our first guest because last week, Pat and I used up all the time. So who's first?
She's from Australia,
Koala.
Kingdom of dangerous animals. Next time that you go, make sure that you know which you can hold and which will kill you.
Like a jellyfish.
It's Kelly Lawrence.
Kelly's back. And what are you going to talk about this week? What dangerous animal are you going to talk about this week? Or is it a nice, furry, fluffy one this week?
Well, this one's a bit controversial. I find it cute, but a lot of people find it very creepy. Basically, we're going to be talking about the flying fox.
My nickname's Fox.
Well.
Because people say I'm ginger, but I'm not. But go on. So flying fox, but it's like a fox that flies.
Exactly. It's a mix between a fox and a bat.
And it's the size of a fox.
Well, they're smaller than a fox,
but
they're still quite large. They're very large for a bat, a bit small for a fox. And they're really cool creatures because it looks exactly as it's described. It's a flying fox.
Are you going to send me a picture?
Yeah, have a look.
He's cute. His face is very cute.
Yeah, they're quite cute. Exactly.
Upside down, they're not so cute. But
they take on the bat form.
Yeah, they're a bit freaky like that way around. No. But when it's flying, it looks very happy. It's got a big smile on its face.
Yeah,
is it actually
exactly.
happy or is it just normally?
Well, they're really sweet. They're very common in Australia. You grow up seeing them all the time. Almost every day you'll see them, especially around sunset. If you look up, it's not so uncommon to see them migrating across the sky because around sundown, they go to look for all the fruit on the trees.
Oh, so they don't eat humans?
No, they're completely...
Or chickens?
No, these ones, luckily no, because there are a lot of them in Australia. It's quite cool because even if you're in the city at around the right time of day, the right season, if you look up, you might see a lot of bats in the sky. And they're quite large bats, and so it's quite a beautiful sight. But
they're ginger. I mean,
they're ginger. They're orange.
Yeah,
they're orange, and they basically spend their time sitting in fruit trees, any trees that kind of bear some sort of fruit, and they just go around eating the fruit. We always used to have them, even living in the centre of Sydney. I used to have a few that lived on the tree just outside of my window.
In the city centre?
In the city centre, yeah, absolutely. Jeez. In the centre of Sydney. If you look up around sunset, you'll see these flying across the sky. And so it's a strange parallel because you see these high-rise buildings and then you see these really wild and natural animals.
Are they friendly, though?
Yeah,
they don't bite or anything.
They're timid. You wouldn't come across them, but you can hear them at night flying. They make a very unique sound with their wings.
Like a proper vampire.
Yes.
Right, okay. Well, at least they don't eat humans like the crocodiles of last week. So.
Exactly. And so the advice that we have for this lesson here is do not park your car under a fruit tree overnight.
Why?
Because bats have very acidic poop. And they will destroy the paint job of your car.
Really? So, it can rip the paint off, basically?
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it's very acidic. And so this is something you grow up learning in Australia is basically do not park your car under fruit trees if you see bats around.
But just this is quite obviously a question that I'm going to ask you, but if they're upside down and they poo... I think you understand how does it not hit them before it hits the car?
I think they poop when they're kind of crawling on the tree. They kind of use
before
their
they go
arms
upside down.
Exactly, before they go upside down.
Having a poo upside down, I never really tried. Have you?
Never thought of it.
So the poo can destroy your car?
Yes, absolutely. It will leave a little circle into the paint job. Happened to my dad a few times. He was quite angry.
You basically have to go and have your car repainted.
Yeah, basically, if you see it there, you have to clean it off straight away. If you leave it there for a few days, you might have a problem.
And these are everywhere in Australia.
Yeah, they're very common. Yeah,
even in the countryside, wherever you go.
Yeah, everywhere. Of course, there are some places that have more than others. There's some places that are absolutely overrun with these bats. For example, in the north, you can go in the city centre and find them across all the trees. They generally go and eat all the mangoes that are growing on the trees in the cities.
It's impossible to cut a mango. How the hell do they do it? They have skills. They
They've
have
got
skills that we humans do not.
Exactly. And so they're beautiful creatures. I really like them. You can also find them in Southeast Asia as well, all across Indonesia and whatnot. So they're quite common animals. They're very, very
Can you have them
common.
as a pet?
Honestly, I don't know. I think you could try.
You couldn't really take it to the park, though.
Maybe not. Maybe at night you could.
But it's very cute. And so basically they're upside down, they live together. But when you said you see them migrating at night and flying around and things like this, how many normally do they stay together? Massive groups? I mean, does it fill the sky? Or?
Yeah, it fills the sky. Massive groups flying across, like big flocks of these bats.
And
They're
if they all
very cool.
poo at the same time?
I've never been pooed on by a bat.
No.
I don't know. Maybe they don't.
Is that
maybe
good
they don't
luck?
do it.
Like with a pigeon?
It doesn't happen like with a pigeon. No.
No, if a pigeon poos on you, it's good luck. No.
In fact, I don't know about the bat. Maybe it's acidic. Maybe it burns. I'm not sure.
No,
It's
but
never
so imagine
happened.
you said it burns the paint off a car. If all these things are flying over the sky and then they all decide they need a number 2 at the same time, it's not really.
I
It's
don't
a bit
know.
dangerous, really. So you're walking around with umbrellas in Australia made out of metal.
Not quite. Not
This is the
quite.
only
I haven't
way.
got to that stage.
Okay, right. Talking of poo. Okay, well, we always end up talking of poo.
In
Right?
fact.
All right. See you next week then.
All
Thank you
right.
very much.
Thank you. Bye.
Now we won't die down under all thanks to just a bit of adverts.
Do you have Instagram? Everybody has Instagram these days. Go and follow all our accounts. Kris Hagan Media, Cirque Magazine, Kris Hagan Language Institute, and if you're interested in what I'm getting up to on a daily basis, The Real Kris Hagan. Also TikTok, Kris Hagan Official. Your daily dose of English is in your hands. And like I promised, here is the second guest this week. It's...
Welcome back to Mimi Melendez, half bartender, half teacher for Kris Hagan. People wonder what kind of cocktail she's got in her shaker. Mimi, please give me one more.
Shake it and make it, girl.
She's back with her fantastic tips.
So Mimi's back, and what are we going to talk about this episode?
Something related to not only the webinar that we recently did, but also the last podcast. We talked about interviews in English. Last podcast, if you remember, we talked about
If they listened.
writing your resume and some of the mistakes that you may make on there that you want to avoid. Today, I want to talk about the top 5 interview mistakes that I see people make when they interview in person.
In
if you're-
person.
Yes, in
Okay.
person. So it's, like I said, a little bit of a spin-off from the webinar that we did recently. And let's just jump right into it. So number 5 of my list of top 5 in-person interview mistakes is that the candidate is not able to communicate appropriately or correctly.
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean by this is that they either use inappropriate language, and I don't just mean curse words, but
Okay. I'm
just
fucking great.
no, that's not what I mean.
No.
I mean, like, they don't use language that is at the level of their job, for example. So you
Right.
want to sound professional, you want to sound educated, at least most of the time at an interview. That's the feeling you want to give across. So that's a mistake that people make. They get too casual, they feel too casual at an interview, or they may use the wrong words. So this happens a lot with some of our students. We talk about this a lot. Some of our Italian students that may use some of the words that they're used to hearing in Italian that don't get translated incorrectly. And so you want to sort of brush up on that before your interview.
To make sure you know what you're talking about.
Make sure you know what you're talking about, basically. Number 4 is, I mentioned this one last time also on the podcast, which is a mistake people make on their resume, is that you either lie or exaggerate.
And now we're doing it in person is even worse.
Yes. And not only can the person probably tell, but, you know, in the U.S., a lot of the employers will check your references and they are going to call your previous jobs to see if the information that's on there is correct. And if you come across as a liar, I guarantee
You're not going to get the job.
You're not going to get that job.
No.
All right. Number 3 is
Number 3.
bringing up either inappropriate or inopportune questions. Okay. So if you remember last at the webinar, one of the questions that one of the attendees had to do with asking about salary. And so if you don't time this question right, it can really backfire on you. And one of the things, if you remember also that I mentioned, is that's one of the questions you don't ask at the first interview. You wait until it's kind of progressed a little, and you wait for the right moment to ask about salary. So that you don't
want to sound greedy as well. I'm only doing this for the money,
and also it's
even if it's true.
Exactly. We all know
even if
that's
it's true, you don't give a
here.
shit about the job.
Yes. So number 2 is not looking appropriate. Okay. I can tell you, I'll never forget an interview I did that I conducted of a candidate who was applying for a court position at a municipality, and she came in flip-flops to the interview.
Was she Australian?
She was not. This was in New York, and I thought, as soon as I saw her, I thought that was a big X against her. And so, I mean, years later, I still remember her feet. I don't remember her or anything on her resume, but I remember her feet.
It's like the girl, I don't know if I told you or if I told Kelly, a girl who came for an interview with us, and as I was teaching the training, doing the teacher training, which you also went through, and I was teaching the phonetics, she was eating an apple.
No,
and I'm like,
she was not.
No, and I'm like, repeat after me, and I'm like, okay, I didn't give her a job.
I'm happy you didn't.
Yeah.
I'm happy you didn't. That's just awful.
She was Canadian. We got Jonathan instead. It's better. How many have you got left?
Only one.
Only
the
one?
Number
you have
one.
to speak really. The number one.
The number one.
In this temperature, it's easy to go slowly. Yeah.
So this number 1 counts for 1,000.
Okay.
And it's just the same as one of the more important points that I made at the webinar, and it is to be prepared. I also cannot stress this enough, how important it is to practice and to prepare and to research and to study for the interview if you really want the job.
If you want it, you need to know what you're doing.
Yeah, so you need to prepare. There's a million things you can do to do that, not only by practicing the interview, but also looking up some interview questions, maybe having some answers to those questions already in your mind. Have some questions
follow-up
prepared.
questions even.
Follow-up questions, yes. Have some questions prepared that you want to ask, and research the company, among many other things that you can do to prepare for an interview. But again, this is one of those things that the interviewer will always be able to tell, whether you prepared and you put in the time.
Like you prepared for today, yeah? Okay, thank you very much. See you next lesson.
Ooh.
I'm used to too many students working all the time. Next episode?
You're burned out. It's vacation time.
It's melting time. It's not vacation time. Holiday time. All right, bye.
Adios.
Mimi Menendez with her fantastic tips.
Remember, that word is tips. Don't get it misunderstood, all you dirty minded people out there. So today you had 2 of my girls. Remember, I said in a couple of weeks you'll hear also Laura. My girls, that sounds really stalkerish. Now remember, if you go over to Australia, take a big umbrella that can withstand anything, even acid. Jingle! Bye.
Doesn't matter where you are, in the car or at the bar. Here for you comes in your ears, another word for thanks is cheers. Here's the new kid from the block, here for you around the clock, sharing all his English tips. Kris
is an anagram of risk.
Kris.